Saturday, and the undercard to Glennady Golovkin against Kell Brook for the unified middleweight championship. Just like going out for a fine meal, you really look forward to that main course, and we've got a cracking main course obviously, but it's the little bits, isn't it? You know, it's the hors d'oeuvres, Adam, you know, it's the fine wines, maybe a little dessert wine as well, I don't know, but we've got it all. And amongst these fine fighters and fine gentlemen here today, we have people involved in all kinds of different stages of their careers. People in almost career-defining fights for British titles. You know, young men starting their career. Of course, 2 world title fights as well. Britain flying high, a chance for another world champion, and also a great domestic clash for the IBF world title and a rematch between Stuart Hall and Lee Haskins. So welcome everybody. Before I talk about the fights, I'm going to pass over to Adam Smith, our exclusive broadcast partner from Sky Sports, to say a few words about a very exciting night on Saturday.
Thanks, Eddie. It certainly is. After the turnout in Covent Garden yesterday, 15 or so deep, it was an amazing atmosphere in the piazza, and great to see everybody on show. The noise when Golovkin turned up, when he started hitting those pads, and when Kell Brook raised the roof as well. I honestly think it's going to be a fabulous, special one-off night on Saturday at the O2. I think the atmosphere is going to be unreal, and with every great fight, it's great to have a tremendous amount on the undercard as well. You know, Coner Benn kicking off things early on in the night. We've got Paul Smith, Callum Smith's on the bill. We've got terrific fights. I'm really looking forward to the British title scrap between Martin J. Ward and Andy Townend. I think it's a real pick-em. It's a great stylistic clash. And as for the 2 world title fights, Charlie Edwards, in only his 9th appearance, what an opportunity, going for this on the big show. As Kell Brook goes for his place in history, Charlie goes to become a world champion at such a young age and at such an early part of his career. But he knows how tough it will be against John Real Casimero, who's travelled a lot, who's a big puncher, and I think that's a great one. And then, of course, the rematch between Lee Haskins and the guy to my left, Stuart Hall. They're both in Sky the other week. A little bit of needle, which we love to see, a bit of old-fashioned grudge, and obviously 4 years on from when they first fought, both are better fighters today. Lee obviously has done so well to become a world champion. Stuart wants to rip that title right back off him. So I think it's going to be a fantastic night. Get there early because I think it's got something for everyone on this, Eddie.
Thanks, Adam. To start us off, a young man, obviously, you know, we know the name in Coner Benn, and a great start to the career so far, 3-0. And boxed twice at the O2 and also in Glasgow as well. Very difficult to come out in front of 17,000 people and hold your composure like he did. He did that twice. The other one was a little bit of a shootout from the Wild West, but we enjoyed it, throwback stuff. And although it might not mean a lot to fans, we're also delighted to announce a new partnership between Coner Benn and Reebok, which was announced today. And I think it just goes to show the interest from brands from a completely diverse culture, not just leisurewear brands, but a number of other sponsors and corporate brands that are choosing to get involved with the sport now, which I think is very, very important. And I think that's a great association for them. So Coner, Saturday night, you're going to kick-start the show at about 6:10. There'll probably be 4,000 or 5,000 in there rather than 17, but a chance for you to do your work and express what you've been working on with Tony Sims.
Yeah, definitely. Really looking forward to being on this bill. You know, it's a blessing to be on such big bills. Now that I've gone up to war, I feel like I generate a lot more power in this fight and really show off my boxing talent and learn to pick my shots. But this Saturday night's going to be a good one. Also, in regards to this Reebok deal, I mean, it's phenomenal. Who would have thought? Me. Do you know what I mean? Me with Reebok. You know, I didn't think that 6 months ago. Also at the big fight nights like the O2, Glasgow, now Golovkin. You know, it's like my career's gone way beyond what I thought it could be, and you know, I'm really truly blessed, and it's onwards and upwards from here.
And looking for a busy back end of the year, obviously, all being well on Saturday, out on the Crolla Linares bill on the 24th of September in Manchester as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I promised all the supporters I'm going to be active, fighting as much as I can, and that's exactly what I want to do. You know, fighting is my life, and I get so much pleasure out of fighting. All the hype, the attention. Coner Benn you know, I love it. You know, I live and breathe it, and you know, hopefully get 8-0 by the end of this year, and I'll be content with this year. And you know, big things next year.
Thanks, Coner. That's 5 fights you've asked for in the space of about 9 weeks. Thank you very much.
Come on, Ed.
Yeah, okay. A young man that you won't know as much about, but I think has equal talent, and I think someone that's going to be a real threat in the 168-pound division, is Craig Spider Richards, down in front of me here. He's with Peter Sims, and he has got a really awkward style. He can punch with both hands, very strong, very big at the weight, and I think he's going to go on and really become a force in the game. So Craig, a big stage for you on Saturday. We know that obviously you box at some of the smaller shows and some of the bigger shows as well at the Copper Box, but a big card on Saturday for you to be a part of.
Yeah, it is, Eddie, and I just like to thank you first of all for putting me on these stages. Really appreciate it, and also thank Peter for getting me to these stages as well, working with me week in and week out, and having belief and faith in me to go all the way to the top. So first of all, foremost, I'd just like to thank you guys. And yeah, Saturday's going to be a big night. Looking forward to it. Feel ready, and that's about it.
Obviously, you're still learning, but you know, improving all the time. And you look at the division domestically, you must have one eye on those guys as well. You know, around British level, probably in next summer of 2017.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely looking to like clean up domestically and at British level by 2017, mid next year. That's the aim. So, and then we'll go from there and move up further. But definitely looking to clean up domestically from now till next year. Good
stuff. On to our bout, which will be around 7 PM on Sky Sports box office, and again, it's a fight I cannot wait to see. It's a pleasure to have Andy Townend back on the show. We've seen him in some wonderful performances on Sky, dynamite in both hands, great knockout in his last performance on Sky. It's always a pleasure to deal with Steffi Ball. You know his guys are going to be giving 110%, and they've been out training abroad for this fight. I know they've put absolutely everything into this camp. They're very confident, and Andy, a big night for you on Saturday and a chance to become British super featherweight champion.
Yeah, it's a big night for me. I'd like to say thank you to Steffi and Ray for getting me ready. My dietitian Andy Hayes and Sheffield, so Artie Sheffield, Danny Wilson. So thank you, and I'm going to go out and get that belt and bring it home.
What sort of fight are you expecting against Martin Wall? We know he's very good technically, you are also, but I'm sure you've studied him with Steffi.
Yeah, we've done a bit of studying, but I'm not home for watching videos and that. I like to go out and do my own thing. So if you could change something, and then I've been watching and going out with a plan, but we'll see. We've got a plan, but we've got plan B as well.
Martin, I remember watching you back in the Gator gym in Hainault before you turned pro, and felt that you'd be a big star in the game. And Saturday, the first real step for that, a must-win fight for you for the British title.
Yeah, definitely. Just first of all, I'd like to thank you, Eddie, and Sky Sports for putting my British title fight on such a big, massive show, getting broadcasters all over the world. And it's a big show, and it's a show that I want to stand out in and get my British title in style and look nice and classy doing it. And I can't wait, really cannot wait.
Obviously, you've had a great camp. I'm sure you and Tony have studied Andy as well. Big puncher, and you've got to be sharp on Saturday night, ready for it. Yeah,
listen, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. This British title is definitely not letting it slip from my hands. This title's mine, and it's mine to lose. I'll go out there and do my stuff on Saturday night, and it'll be coming home to Simsy's gym.
Thank you, Martin. The first of our world titles, remember getting a phone call from actually some of our Heyman's guys saying, look, do you have anyone at flyweight to fight John Real Casimero? And I said, I have Charlie Edwards, but he's sort of, you know, looking at European titles and stuff like that. So I phoned up Cowie FI and said, can you make flyweight? And he said, no. So I thought, I'll just text Charlie Edwards and ask him. Well, after that, it was all downhill. I said, do you want to challenge for the world title against John Real Casimero? He said, yeah. That was just the reply I got. So okay, let me speak to the people that should make the decisions. And we spoke to MGM and we spoke to Danny Vaughan. And they took their time to go away and look at John Real Casimero. And they came back and said, we believe we can beat him and we'd like you to make the fight. And from there, it was a pleasure dealing with the Casimero team, and it's great to welcome our friends from the Philippines as well, and Sean Gibbons as well. It's a pleasure to have you here. And this is a really engrossing fight between a two-weight world champion in John Real Casimiro, who, if you watch the footage, if you watch the training footage, the previous fights, you can see what a classy fighter this young man is, against a guy who, like we said, has not operated, barely at British level on the scene in Charlie Edwards. He's in a division at flyweight where there's not many places to go. And on Saturday night, this young man has a chance to become world champion in just his 9th fight. I think it's a wonderful moment that he's taking this opportunity. We really believe he can win. It's going to take a performance that certainly we've never seen before, because it's going to be at levels that he's never operated at before. But he is so confident, and I'm not sure I've seen a fighter put in the work and dedicate himself to the sport at such a young age like Charlie Edwards. And to watch him go out there and try and not make history, because we know there's been other successes in that respect, but it feels like a history-making fight for Charlie Edwards to go and beat someone like Casimiro. So Charlie, after that build-up, you better say some good stuff.
I just want to
know
say,
you're ready for this fight.
Yeah, I'm more than ready for this fight. I've put my heart and soul into this for the last. I fought 7 weeks ago, and I was in camp for 10 weeks before that, and we knew that this was in the pipeline. So I've really trained my heart out for this fight. I feel ready. I'm confident. I can do the business. I've looked at Casimiro, and I really, really do believe that I'm going to take that title away from him, and I'm going to take it in style. I'm going to introduce myself to the world scene on Saturday.
From when we signed you, it was apparent that boxing was completely your life. And although Marbella sounds like a great place to go and train, the facilities out there fantastic, and it's enabled you to just completely focus your preparation on boxing, which is your life. And I know growing up through the amateurs, the opportunity for you to become a world champion, it's just 3 days away now.
That's it. It's all come surreal now since I've landed back in London. I eat, sleep and breathe boxing. I give it everything. I know where I want to go. I want to be a world champion, and I want to be a multi-weight world champion. But we've got to focus on Saturday now, and I'm really, really confident. And when I say this, John Real Casimiro, that belt is staying in London.
I know you study fighting inside and out, and you would have studied him. Tell us a bit about Casimiro, in your opinion, as a fighter, and what you've got to do to negate his stuff.
He's a very good fighter. He's a two-weight world champion. It says it all. He can punch with both hands, but I see a downfall in him, and I see a downfall in his feet, and he's slow-footed. So I'm gonna have to put a hell of a performance in. But I know with my awkwardness, my trickiness, the way I hit, the way I move, he's gonna be in a bad place. He's travelled 14 and a half hours to get to London. He's 8 hours time difference. After 6 rounds, when that jet lag starts hitting in and I start going up a gear, he's going to be in trouble.
Mr. Casimiro, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here. You're going to really enjoy the atmosphere on Saturday night, and I'm sure you're excited to defend your world title.
Yeah, I'm excited. My first defense. Thank you to promote and give the opportunity the first defense.
What do you know about Charlie Edwards? He's very young, quite inexperienced, 8 fights, but very fresh, a lot of energy.
Charlie Edwards is a mature boxer. This is a good boxer, but for me, it's a very, very good boxer.
And how do you feel the fight going on Saturday night? What is your prediction for the fight?
I think I give a good fight.
Okay. I'll translate that for the media. He said he's going for the knockout. He'll be inside 6 rounds.
Excuse me, Eddie, can I add more?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. I know. By the way, well done with the English. I wasn't expecting
sorry,
anything.
because he cannot really express
Is
is, he's a little bit Tagalog, it's local dialect in Philippines. But, he can talk in Tagalog and Cebuano. But I can add more. No? We appreciate that. First, I would like to thank Eddie from Matchroom in making this event happen here in England or in London, because this is an opportunity for Casimiro to be here. This is the first time that he's in London. In other countries, yes, he has been there. And he appreciates very much to fight here with this kind of card, big card, and of course, he appreciates the guts of Charlie Edwards, because first, he has practically the same. John Real Casimiro became an interim world champion in 13 fights. So that's why he appreciates the guts of Charlie Edward at the early age, early stage of his career. He is aspiring to be a world champion. That is very good. He can attain that. But maybe not this time with Casemiro, that's what I said. So, but it will just remain as what will happen on Saturday. Of course, this is a very big event for them, and Casemiro is ready for this. He's ready to defend, and I think Charlie Edward is all ready to snatch the title if ever. So, we thank you, everybody, for having us Casemiro here in London. Thank you so much.
Just like to ask you a question. I read an article in the boxing media that said that John Riel Casemiro was perhaps the best world champion that no one had heard of.
Yes.
So, and you know, we know how good John Riel. Tell us a little bit about John Riel Casemiro's background, and tell us about him as a fighter and a person.
Yes. John Riel Casemiro involved in amateur boxing at the early age, and became silver medalist and gold medalist in the domestic, in the Philippines only. In the Palarong, they call it Palarong Pambansa. And he had fought 200 amateur fights. So his experience in amateur had helped him a lot in elevating his career into professional. When I picked him up to be a professional, then I had seen something in Casemiro that probably he can be a world champion later. So first bout, he has done a lot of things, knockouts, and every 12 fights, I noticed that he has something that he can deliver into the professional level, that he can be a world champion. So we immediately make an interim world championship in Nicaragua. This is the first trip of Casemiro, and he did it. And practically, to have the background of Casemiro, practically all his fights were done outside. That's never heard in the Philippines, because he had been fighting abroad. In the Philippines, he had only defended once, but you know, because of weight problem, he lost it. That's why he don't go, no, I don't want to fight anymore in the Philippines. I want to fight outside of the country. So be it. So okay, you can go around the world and fight it, and he is comfortable fighting outside. So that's why the confidence is there, fighting outside, but you know, he has to deliver it. So this time with Charlie Edwards, he knows that Charlie Edwards has only 8 fights, and this will be coming 9 fights, and who knows, he could be world champion if Casemiro will allow it. But he likes the guts of Charlie Edwards. He has the confidence in himself, and he has the aspiration to become a world champion. That's it. That is the basic insight for the fighter to become a world champion, which he had experienced before on the 13th fight. He did it. He did it in Mexico, Panama, I think practically outside. Argentina. We traveled 24 hours, but still he did it. So practically he's comfortable. That's why, I mean, he doesn't care wherever he fight, but as long as fair, no problem. If once you get it, then Charlie, do your part on Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you very much. What about a round of applause for that? I cannot wait for Edwards against Casemiro. I'm so excited about that fight. I am so excited. Now, this press conference has been far too much respect so far. So I'm going to ask you to enjoy yourselves and talk about this fight. This is a great little grudge match for the IBF Bantamweight World Championship. Of course, the champion, Lee Haskins, and the challenger, Stuart Hall, have met before. Stuart Hall is looking to become a 2-time world champion. And Lee Haskins, of course, looking to defend that title at the O2 on Saturday. I'm going to start with the champion. I'm going to start with your manager, Chris Sanagar. Chris, been to the O2 plenty of times before in your career as a manager and trainer and team man, and confident of success on Saturday night for Lee Haskins.
Yes, we're very confident of success, but you know, more than that, we're very pleased to be on such a big platform. Lee Haskins, he's an example to every British boxer that's going to turn professional. You know, he came up on the small hall shows, the opposite to Coner Benn, the opposite to Craig Richards. You know, they were just small shows, but he just kept on. And he's been boxing now 13 years. He boxed on those small shows. Sometimes there's only 600, 700 people there. But he just kept on amassing, winning victories. He then went on, he won the British title. He's actually won the British title twice. He's won the Commonwealth title twice. He's won the European title twice, and then went on and won the world title. He's done everything that's asked of him. Lots of obstacles have been put up in front of him, commercially and professionally, but he still carried on. And with his patience and determination, I believe he will be very similar to how Johnny Nelson was, and continue to defend this title maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, even 10 times.
Only won another 4 fights, Chris.
He's staying in it. He's staying in it. We're not going to let him go. I've been associated with Lee since a 14-year-old boy with our amateur club. So we go a long, long way. He says we have a father and son relationship. He doesn't do anything I tell him. But somehow, you know, we've got here. As I said, with his skill, technique, and determination, he's got through everything. And I believe on Saturday, he's going to steal the show, you know? And that's what we're here for, stealing the show, putting on a performance that when people talk about the show, Golovkin and Kell Brook, they say, yeah, but did you see that kid Haskins? Who is he? And that's it.
Chris, we know you live boxing through and through. Tell us a little bit about the fight itself and the two styles and how you expect it to play out.
Well, you know, I've got the greatest respect for Stuart Hall. You know, very, very tough. And that's the sort of way of thinking when I was boxing. So, you know, I'm not going to say anything bad of him. But I believe that Stuart Hall will come forward. He'll never give in. And this will play into Lee Haskins' hands. Lee Haskins will be there to meet him. And our man will just be too good. Great fight.
Thanks, Chris. And over to Max McCracken, who's been involved in kind of like the resurgence of Stuart Hall the second time around. A great run of fights, of course, winning the IBF final eliminator in his last fight. Max, I know you've had a great camp and excited for your chance as well for your charge to become world champion on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, Stuart's been with us for 2 years now, me and Paddy Lynch. We've just seen improvements, you know. And for each fight he's improved. And like he's 36, but he's like a 26-year-old, just getting better and better. So like Saturday, you know, he's going to rip that belt off him.
Obviously, not giving the game plan away, but you know the styles of Lee Haskins, and obviously Stuart's fought him before. What has he got to do in this fight to win it?
We prepared for him. We prepared with tough sparring, tricky sparring. You know, we've covered every angle. We're really confident. We just go in and do what we've got to do.
Lee, obviously a big stage, like Chris said, and I know you were smiling about stealing the show, but obviously a chief support on this card and a great opportunity to put in a big performance as world champion.
Yeah, definitely. It is a mega show to be on. So I'm, you know, these are shows that you, as a boxer, you dream about being on, and you know, I've dreamt of it since I was a kid to be on shows like this, and it's absolutely amazing. But you know, maybe for me stealing the show, I've never did that before, so you know, this could be the first. But like I said, I'm looking for a great fight. I'm absolutely ready. I've never been more ready for any fight than I have now. My speed, my power, everything is just on point, and I'm looking on to showing that on Saturday night to Mr. Hall down there. You know, the plan is just to put him asleep within 6. I've said that, and like Chris said, we know the game.
You haven't got the power.
We know the game plan. Stuart Hall. Yeah, we know his game plan. You know, he can only do one thing, and that's come forward. And you know, I think that's exactly what he's going to do, and he's going to walk onto things.
Do you think that he knows he has to close you down, he knows he has to force the fight, and that's where you're going to come into your own with your stuff?
100%. That's what we've worked on in sparring all through training. Him just coming in, closing us down, and me catching him to speed counters.
Stuart, obviously, I know you're so up for this fight. We've seen the stuff on Sky. You've got a real business head on in this camp, and then fight week as well, and a chance for you to become a 2-time world champion.
Yeah, I just want to thank yourself and Matchroom and Sky Sports put me on such a big belt. It's absolutely amazing to be even be on it, you know what I mean? But like we've worked on so much over the last couple of years. My career's been had its ups and downs, but believe you me, I'm very, very confident going into this fight Saturday night. Saying he's going to knock me out in 6, he couldn't knock the skin off a rice pudding. He hasn't got the power. Believe you me.
I would say I'd knock your hair off your head, but you ain't got any.
He cannot hurt me. End of. I'm bigger. I'm stronger. He might be a bit quicker. I'll give him that. You know what I mean? But we've covered, like you say, we've covered every angle, and we're gonna rip that belt right off him.
Yeah, you can take it now. Don't get it.
I've got one.
Don't get it.
I'm only going to give that one to my trainer.
Wear it for a week.
Obviously, talk about the styles in the fight. You know the style that Haskin is bring. How important is it not to make those mistakes? We know you're going to come and force the fight. You always do that. But you've boxed him before and taken experience of that first encounter.
This is a new fight. I'm a different twice the fighter I was 4 years ago. So I'm not even reading into that last fight. This is a new fight, new opponent, and that's the way I'm treating it. But I just don't, like you say, he comes in as a fight and doesn't spoil it and doesn't grab, and just as a fight, you know what I mean, for the crowd, up for 20,000 crowd if they're there, you know what I mean, don't fall asleep, the first 4 rounds or something.
And finally, I remember when you won the world title the first time against Vusi Malinga. It was kind of like a fairy tale story. It was like no one could really believe it, with all respect. And now it seems that this is not a game. This is not about trying to shock people. This is about going to get back what's yours.
Of course it is. This is definitely. I'm going to get back what's rightfully mine. But that fight with Malinga was a proper fight, and proper 12-round fight, war. What people want to watch. They don't want to watch people running around, running away, cuddling. Let's get it on, Lee.
Let's do it, baby.
Okay, guys. I cannot wait for that fight also, and I cannot wait for Saturday night. In fact, I think the only way you can describe this is boxing porn. I mean, that's the best way to describe this. Sorry, Sky Sports. I know it's probably not that corporate for you, but it's just the best way I know. Because I could probably raise this table right now with my hands up there. I'm that excited. I want to thank everyone for coming. I can't wait for Brook Golovkin press conference tomorrow. And we're going to have 3 head-to-heads up here, Ward Townend, Casimiro Edwards, and a friendly one between Stuart and Lee. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for coming. Cheers.